I think that when there's something new, I think it's important no matter how old you are to embrace it. I can't tell you how excited I am and how refreshing it is to see someone that is in their 80s navigate an iPhone, navigate like different things. And I think that is so important because I think it keeps you young, but also it drives ideas, it drives innovation, even when you're older, where you think that anything is still possible. And I think that keeps you living longer. And I think it at least keeps you living in a happier place than feeling like you're being left behind.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're being left behind because you chose to, by small decisions, to let go of things that were new and up and coming. And so I think that is so important.
I don't want to be the old lady that's like, oh yeah, she's going to be in her 50s, like write her off, right? Like her ideas of the way the world works no longer apply. Hey guys, welcome back to the Push Podcast. I am Janelle Copeland.
And I'm Eddie Copeland. That was a little bit of like a beatbox, stutter. Didn't know where I was going with it, and then I found my way, you know?
I hated everything about it, but I'm glad that you're here. That's all that matters, is that you're here. You showed up. Thank you.
You know what? You know one thing you're going to get from me? My authentic self, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to show up and be me and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I'm saying, people.
Is that your Eddieism for today?
I don't know.
All
but
right.
It's a crazy world, you know? And so I just want to be crazy in it.
Well, moving on.
You
ready?
Yeah.
I heard a pickup line and I want to try it on you.
All right. Let's see if it works. I'm really tough to be picked up on.
Hey.
Yes.
Do you like algebra?
Actually,
well,
I don't.
Because I need help replacing my ex. Wait, hold on. I fucked it up. Because I need you to help me replace my ex without asking why.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
It's not I get it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure.
This podcast that I found on TikTok, they said they do this thing where it's like, is it cheesy or is it a good pickup line? He's like, hey, do you like algebra? Because I need help replacing my ex without asking why.
Can I ask you a question though?
Okay.
Did it hurt?
What?
Did it hurt?
What is your corny ass pickup line?
When you fell from heaven?
That's so old and corny. That was like from 2000. You cannot use that anymore.
You can't put a year on things like that.
Yes.
Those things are timeless. Come
Absolutely.
on.
Okay, here's a question. Do people actually still have pickup lines?
No, people don't talk to each other.
You're right.
Like right now, the dating scene is online, right? And I don't know what that looks like to make a pickup line online. Right?
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm
Why?
so
Because you're
blessed.
not on any of those apps?
I'm not on any of those apps.
Okay, just for the record, if anyone found you on any of those apps like Tinder or I don't even know what those dating apps are.
That would be horrible. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. So, but
that's a special kind of person. When you're in a marriage
And
relationship and you have like profiles under like that's
You
what is
have
that movie
created-
Catfish?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. I don't know what it is, but if you're married in a relationship, but you also have like a dating app that you've got live and firing off, like
you have a bio with like pics.
That's bad.
I want to say it'd be my worst nightmare, but my worst nightmare in this marriage would be you're hooked on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of up there.
But hooked on drugs and on a dating site.
I'm not gonna lie. If one of my friends told me they saw you on a dating app, like I would be like, not my husband. Right. But if I found it to be true, I'd be devastated and destroyed simply because it's not in your character.
Right. No, I wouldn't do that. You don't have to worry about that.
No, I know that, but I'm really thankful in this moment that I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's a terrible feeling. My heart goes out to anyone listening who's found their husband on a dating app. Like that is one of the most fucked up things you can do.
Yeah, and it's so like premeditatory, right?
Meditary?
Premeditative.
Meditative?
Premeditative.
I think you were trying to say predatory
and
not premeditative.
No, I wasn't trying to say predatory, but I was trying to say, I don't know what I was trying to say, but premeditated in a sense that like
you wrote out your bio.
Like you were like actually like seeking out people. And then you're also, it's predatory in a sense. Maybe that's where my brain was going because you're preying on people who are looking for individuals, right? And tricking them to think that you are single and you have a full life, which is super bad, which we saw a little bit in that show, Mr. Robot, right? But that was, how did we get here?
I don't know. We're talking about dating, pickup lines.
Okay.
So how do people meet nowadays, though?
Yeah, I have no clue.
I
would love to know.
I think they have to meet through a friend, through a dating app, or as coworkers.
I think people still
can't meet as coworkers now.
Like clubs and bars. And I don't know if those are the best place to meet people, but I think people still do that.
Yeah, I don't think looking for love in all the wrong places. I don't think looking for love in a club or a bar is the right thing. But
why not? Like, what do you think? What's wrong with finding some love in the club?
I want to make love in this club.
That's wrong.
There's nothing wrong. Actually, I would meet somebody at a grocery store if I was at a grocery store, at Costco. Like, I don't know. I have a girlfriend who's been single for a long time, and I always tease her, like, you're single because you literally have blinders on. You don't pay attention. You could be working out right next to your soulmate at the gym. You could be right next to Mr. Right in the checkout line at the grocery store, but you're not paying attention. You don't even flirt with people. Like, look at other people, make eye contact, say hi, be friendly, smile. So I do think you can meet someone anywhere. Yeah. But you have to be open and receptive and like kind of consciously paying attention.
We've gotten a little hypersensitive to like people coming on to you because I think it gets turned into this place of I don't know, but I think that men are less leery of approaching a woman just because
they're more leery to approach.
Yeah, because things have gotten a little bit hypersensitized because of our society.
Because you don't want to come off, especially in the workplace, like you're being inappropriate.
Yeah, I think you don't want to put forth the wrong foot, and I don't think you want to come across as, a sleazy or whatever it is. Because let's just face it, you're attracted by looks, and when you're in a setting like the gym or a club or a bar, you definitely don't know that person, so there's an attraction there, and so I think that maybe that's like on the minds of women. I don't know. I feel like right now is a real tough time to be a single person.
I wonder if that's the case. We need our listeners to let us know.
Yeah, help us out with that.
Is it a tough time to be single? It's been a while since I've been single.
Yeah.
You too?
But you don't have a problem with me too. But you don't have a problem with men like in the past coming on to you.
No. I don't have a problem with that now.
But I wonder how many women do now. Like how many women like have a problem with like, oh my God, this guy tried to talk to me today.
I think it depends on like if you're friendly. Like if you have a friendly personality, you make eye contact with people. I definitely have tried to avoid eye contact with people because I'm like, that could open up a door to like too much friendliness.
Eye contact, like locking eyes?
Not locking eyes. I mean, I'm not going to lock eyes, but there's a certain kind of aura that you give off, And so I'm like, a lot less friendly now, like, because obviously I'm not in the market.
Yeah.
What about you?
You just come across as like,
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll pass guys sometimes, and if they're like interested, they'll say, you should smile. What are you so upset about? I'm like, actually, I'm having a really good day. I just didn't want to smile because I don't want to give you the wrong impression. Yeah. So that's probably my thing that I get the most is like, oh, why are you so unhappy? You should smile. You're pretty. Like something like that. I'm like, played out. Yeah. I got it though. That's good. That's a good one.
I don't know if I don't think I used to do anything like to like make myself look available. So I don't think I've made like many adjustments to like, hey, I frown when I'm, walking the streets. I don't know. Like what can I do to repel?
You can wear blinders. Yeah.
Oh, you mean
just
like
don't pay attention to. Yeah.
Don't look at people.
Yeah.
But I'm always really curious. I'm always like looking at situations. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that person's doing, or look at that couple, or like I'm always.
Yeah, I don't know. We're out of practice.
I don't want to get in practice.
I don't want to be in practice either, but we need our single people to kind of chime in on this.
Right.
So moving on from dating, here's a question: would you rather have 1 million followers or $1 million?
Give me $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be the benefit of having $1 million versus 1 million followers?
Investing.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick,
so
easy.
I recently went to a conference called VidCon, and it was put on 100% like sponsored by TikTok.
Yeah.
And I got to say, like, my team's been trying to get us on TikTok for a long time. And it's something I'm just like, one more social media thing. Like, teenagers are on it, not really interested. But I went to this conference because it's about video,
right,
and my mind's completely changed. And so after the conference, I was like, hey, we're going to start a TikTok. Why? Because we do funny shit all the time. We've got a podcast.
Right.
We have a brand we're trying to grow. We've got a fun family. And so let's just put a little bit of effort, throw some stuff out there so people can kind of connect with us. And let's just see what happens.
Right.
Not with any expectations, but at the conference, there were several influencers that are really big on TikTok that have millions of followers, and all they are is like families.
Right.
Like, it's just a family. The Pittman sisters, 3 sisters, they're not twins. They're just like our daughters, 2 years apart each. As a matter of fact, the oldest one is Jasmine's age. She's in law school. The youngest one's like Jordan. She's finishing her senior year in high school, and all they do is like trending dances as sisters. They started during the pandemic, and now they've got millions of followers. They're getting tons of brand deals. Like, this is literally their full-time job now.
So you're saying million followers
Well,
gets you.
I'm saying, like, in the past, prior to this conference, I would have never cared about followers ever.
Right.
But what I saw large companies like Paramount Studios, large companies that make movies and films, and producers and record labels, and all of these companies come to this event looking for some of the greatest content creators that have the largest followings, because those companies, like a Paramount Pictures, who was really prominent at this conference, was like, we're looking at obtaining talent, and we're looking at, you know, putting out shows and stuff in a different way now.
Right.
Like, we're letting kind of the people who have influence right now help us create those. So whether they're looking for someone who's got millions of followers on TikTok, who's putting out creative stuff that people like in maybe a 20-year-old bracket, that Paramount Studios is now saying, hey, we want to hire you as a consultant. Like, we want you to come, and we want to be able to kind of bounce some ideas off of you, because this is what we have in the pipelines, but we really want someone's creativity or input or insight. So I was really inspired to see that people who want to be actors, people who want to be film producers, people who are just living regular lives now have this underdog kind of influence.
Yeah, that's
and
really
these
cool.
larger companies are shifting the way that they look for talent. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? We're no different. I mean, we like to take vacations. Let's vlog. It's kind of like short clip vlogs about our vacations. People ask about that anyways. Why not put it out there?
Yeah.
People ask us all the time about parenting, or what do you do? You've got teenage daughters. How do you raise them to be successful? You know, we talk about parenting stuff. We can do funny parent stuff, or share some of the things that we go through. We talk about, you know, everyone in our family having like a health or a fitness routine. We can film some quick stuff about being healthy and make it fun and family friendly. So I just thought that this would be a fun episode to kind of talk about how I've always had resistance to like, it's another new thing.
Right.
But you talk a bit about the fact that we've made a commitment to each other that as we get older, we don't want to be that older couple that's like, that's for the young folks. That's for the youngins. Like, talk about why that's important.
Well, I think when you think about getting older, you know, a lot of it about getting older, many people have already experienced this right now. So as you get older, you leave things behind, right? Or like things become less important to you. For me, video games and sitting in front of the TV, watching football and sports has become less important to me, because I see there's bigger and more important things out there. So that's what age does. The thing is that new things come up, right? So new things like TikTok, new things like different technologies from phones to VR to all these things that I think when you get older, it's easy to kind of lump into one category of saying, oh, that's all that new stuff. I'm not into that, or it's not that important. And then what ends up happening is that you lose that edge of like being versatile and saying, hey, I'm able to kind of adapt to my surroundings and keep my mind fresh for what may be new. And so I think that's super important. Like, I think that when there's something new, I think it's important no matter how old you are to embrace it. I can't tell you how excited I am and how refreshing it is to see someone that is in their 80s navigate an iPhone, navigate like different things. And I think that is so important because I think it keeps you young, but also it drives ideas, it drives innovation, even when you're older, where you think that anything is still possible. And I think that keeps you living longer. And I think it at least keeps you living in a happier place than feeling like you're being left behind.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're being left behind because you chose to, by small decisions, to let go of things that were new and up and coming. And so I think that is so important. So embracing TikTok, embracing these things in the right way. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm not embracing it where it's like addictive or it throws you off from real life. But I mean, embracing it in a way where you're saying, hey, this is a medium in which I can communicate what I do, to your point, like the things that of value that we can share to the world that I think could be helpful. This is another vehicle to do that.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things that as I get older, I just like, I don't really want to do that. Right.
Right.
But things that are about pop culture, things that I know would still keep me connected to my kids, things that keep me kind of relevant. I don't want to be the old lady that's like, oh yeah, she's going to be in her 50s, like write her off, right? Like her ideas of the way the world works no longer apply. And so I think with us having...
That's a tough... Say that again. That's tough. Your ideas of the world no longer apply.
And I feel like that's where the generational like differences come up a lot, right? Like you have... it was so funny to me, kind of off subject, but I was talking to someone about like boomers and Gen X and Gen Z and millennials and stuff like that. And I always found it really interesting that boomers were the main ones to talk shit about millennials, like, oh, they get a participation trophy, they don't work the same in the workforce, this and that. And I was like, I wonder if y'all know you're their parents, actually. Like you literally made them like this, right? Like you literally, the boomers who are like 65 and a little bit older, you guys gave birth to Gen X, which is us, like we're about 40.
Which is the best generation.
Every generation thinks that it's the best generation, right? And so we were independent. It was the first time in history where moms were working outside of the home. First time in history where you can have a divorce, so we had single moms. We had to be responsible for watching our siblings, like stuff like that. Then they got a little hipper and I don't know, in their second and third marriages decided to have kids again. We were grown already. And they gave birth to the millennials, right? Which they have a problem with. So that's my question is like, you raised them and you have a problem with them. You were the ones that were going to the school demanding the participation trophies, right? I say all this to say that now we have Gen Z children and people now are concerned with, what's going to happen? These Gen Zers, they can't hold a job. They don't believe in customer service. They don't even talk to people. While some of that stuff may be stereotypical or true, right? We're connected to those Gen Zers. And so I posted something the other day saying like we're hood parents. Our kids are built different. Why? Because we created that. We didn't want you to go through the same things that we went through. We didn't want you babysitting your siblings. So literally everything that's wrong with them is our fault. I'm fully aware of that, but I don't know why people are not.
Because you don't want to take responsibility for the most part. I mean, it's interesting that our kids, like as they start to interact with other adults, their findings around how other adults behave and deal with problems is pretty interesting because they find that people are not very mentally tough. They find that people don't have a lot of emotional intelligence, and they're like, and it's interesting when they say, I used to like think, oh my God, this is an adult. Like I have to listen to everything they say. And like, they're the authority. And now they're saying like, oh my God, this person is ridiculous. Like how do they function every day? How do they survive every single day with some of the things that they interact with? So it's really, really interesting. But I will say the only thing I'm concerned with this generation is, even though we're talking about like the great possibilities of embracing things like social media, TikTok, things like that, I'm a little concerned because like creating actual things is less important.
making
like
something.
making, like innovating in technology and things of that nature. Just from the numbers of people, how many people are in science and math and stuff like that, obviously is down from the years prior. And even though in our last episode, we talked about how things are getting better, they are. But I think that one of the things we have to realize is that not everybody can be a content creator. Somebody's got to actually make some stuff, right? Right. And I'm always curious, like when you talked about Paramount Pictures being at VidCon, I'm curious of like, are they trying to figure out how this fits in their ecosystem? But at the end of the day, like when the economy has the last couple of years has been really interesting because we've had COVID and then we had, lots of stimulus money in our economy and a lot of things. So people have gotten into areas of their lives that they've never been in before. People were either laid off or went home. And so they started making content. And so you have more people who have just been introduced to this place of social media and now are making income from it. But what happens if we do go into a recession? Like I think about that, like what happens to these content creators when the first thing major companies do when they have issues with finances is they pull marketing.
Well, think about this though. If I'm a company like Coca-Cola, let's just say I'm spending millions of dollars to advertise on the Super Bowl, right? I don't have to do that anymore if I've got millions of influencers with millions of followers and I send them, hey, for $10,000, I want you to post 3 times.
Yeah.
No problem.
Done deal.
I just saved a ton of money and I don't have to do the Super Bowl commercial anymore. Because the thing is they're kind of reading the writing on the wall is people are not watching the Super Bowl live anymore from television. More people are on
social media than watching television.
Right. And so if you owned a large corporation like Coca-Cola, I mean, Ray-Bans, I met a woman called Curvy Trendy. I think she's got 1 million followers on TikTok. And she just, shows off like things that are flattering for a curvy body.
Right.
And I thought she was really cool. I heard her speak and Ray-Ban gave her a major deal.
And as you say that now, it makes me think actually they probably would just continue to pull more money from those areas and put it into social media because that's where the eyeballs are. So,
but you're right in the sense of like, if we have more people wanting to be content creators, more people wanting to have a side hustle, work from home, not work for a corporation, who the hell runs the world then? Like, I just want to know who my doctor's going to be. Like, because if I'm not trying to be a doctor, my kids don't want to be a doctor, who do I go to when I need an OBGYN, 100%. Right? And so that's interesting because my OB office is having a tough time right now. They said right now we can't find any new OBs that are graduating that want to be a part of this practice. And it's really alarming. Just like people during COVID were not going to pilot school. So now there's a huge shortage for pilots. And so thousands of flights are being canceled all over the world for every airline because there's a freaking shortage of pilots, right? So if we all want to play around on social media, who's actually going to fly the planes? Who's going to check the vaginas? Who's going to check the prostates? Who's going to clean your teeth? Like, and then we have less people.
You know who's going to be?
Who?
Immigrants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what people don't realize is that
somebody
our immigration
will come for these jobs.
No, our immigration is down, and I'm not talking about illegal immigration. I'm talking about like people immigrating from rising countries that actually produce tons of engineers, doctors. Like some of these countries are heavy into STEM, I would say, and we have locked things down since 2019 and 2018. And so with that, we have less people taking these tech and these medical jobs because we don't have that influx of immigration coming in to the schools and into these professional arenas. So we're in trouble. We got to kind of open things up a little bit. Yeah.
So I met a woman the other day. I'm looking for her name. I met her at the car dealership. I was waiting on my car and the news was on and it was, the female minority mayor of San Francisco was appointing a new minority female district attorney. And I was like sitting there watching it like full of so much pride. And the woman next to me was like, isn't that incredible? Like, and so we had this whole conversation and she looked like she was also a POC. And so I was like, where are you from? She said, Iran. And I was like, oh, okay. Tell me about your culture. Like, what do you do? So she's a dentist. She's actually a professor. Here are her. So it's Satara Lavasani. I'm sure I butchered her name, but she has a DDS, an MS, and an FODIA. I don't even know what that is, and I don't have my glasses on, but she's highly educated, board certified, oral radiologist, dentist, associate professor, international lecturer, and consultant. And she's 40. Wow. Like, that's incredible, right? So we sparked this whole conversation, and she basically just says, like, well, what about the younger generation? Like, these younger women who don't want to get into politics, who don't want to get into dentistry, who don't. And I was like, girl, it's an issue, Right. And she said they're just not built the way that the previous generations are, which I think is somewhat true. Like, we're talking about like mental capacity, emotional intelligence, and just like the resilience to be able to like be an on-call doctor, right, work emergencies, see trauma, like, be quick. And she's just, we had a really great conversation, two strangers in a car dealership, just about like what happens for women going forward, particularly women in STEM.
Right.
And it's alarming as a mom who knows that my kids are probably not going to be doctors, they're going to be entertainers.
Right.
Whose kids out there, if you're listening, like, is your kid going to be my OB? Because I need to know who's going to do that.
That's a real thing. And I think that's something that we got to really start facing. I don't think people realized. And if you're really paying attention to that hard data around these professional jobs, like like engineers and doctors, a lot of them are taken. Those positions are filled by people who immigrate to the United States, or at least second generation immigrations to the United States. And
she said her whole family's educated,
right?
All doctors,
100%. And in a lot of these countries, like, that type of education is the most important thing,
right?
Right? They don't have all the other things that are distracting them, or these aspirations, because they're just not. It's not available necessarily. Like, we live in the United States. Hollywood is available, right? So people want to be in Hollywood, right? Broadway is available, so people want to be on Broadway, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we do need a balance of like who's going to take these important jobs that we rely on.
It's also like, whose responsibility is it, right? Like, whose responsibility? I'm upset that there's a shortage of pilots. I'm upset that the airlines didn't see that this was coming. Like, you didn't see that there was a record-breaking number of people who were retiring early during COVID. You didn't think like, hey, who's in the pipelines? Like, hey, how do we keep pilot school going? Hey, how do we start recruiting? Because if I'm paying attention to things like TikTok and things that are shaping and shifting our culture, if I am in charge of like the OBGYN, I don't know, organization, I'm like out paying influencers to be in school, like to talk about the fact that women need other women to sign up for these jobs, to like, just like we're doing it for Paramount Pictures and Coca-Cola, we could be doing that in educational arenas as well. Yeah. Like, we could be out really making it cool for women to step onto these college campuses, for women to, step into these different industries and like flex their power. Like, there's so many things that could be really cool about that.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I don't know. Where are the women at? Where are the young men at too? Like, what do we do if we get into a generation that's all creators? And then before you answer that, because I do think, kind of tying it back to all of the different generations, in the last podcast, we talked about every generation thinks that they're living in the worst time in history, right? Also, that current generation thinks that they're God's gift to the world, right? Just like you said, we're the best generation.
100%.
Debatable, right? And every generation is concerned for the next generation. Yeah. Oh God, they're going to ruin our lives, right? So when the silent generation, which is now like 90, 80 years old, had the boomers coming in and they were protesting and like, trying to end like segregation and all of these things that were a huge deal, especially in the United States. Like, the silent generation thought for sure that the boomers were going to destroy the earth, right? Yeah. And then the boomers now think that with all the protests and things that the Gen Zers care about, that they're definitely like too far on the left and they're too far, the pendulum has swung, and now there's, you can pick whatever you want to be and nothing goes, and there's just going to be chaos and anarchy. And so I just don't think that that's true.
Right.
But as a Gen Xer, I am concerned for like, well, we're going to get into a new generation, and it's going to be interesting to see what do we do for doctors and lawyers and engineers and STEM, and like how do we keep that going, because we need it in order to function.
Yeah, and then where we're gonna get the teachers to teach it.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are some real things. So thinking about a real problem and thinking about TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. So I was on TikTok, and here's one of the major cool benefits of TikTok. I stumbled across this guy named Moses West.
Okay.
All right. So Moses West has a foundation, and get this. So we're in California. California has a severe drought right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
yet
states,
you leave the water on while you're brushing your teeth. Drives me insane.
Cut that out, because
anyways,
I'm trying to make it. No,
there's a trend on TikTok right now.
Okay, yeah.
And it's he's a 10 but. My husband, he's a 10 but he leaves the water running in the middle of a drought while brushing his teeth.
Yeah,
so
that's
triggering for me. But you're so hot,
there.
so I let it go. I don't let it go. Actually, I turn the water off every time.
Yeah, that has not happened
in
a very long time. But that's besides the point.
Yesterday.
So the reason why this person is so important.
Okay.
Is because he has developed this technology that it's called atmosphere water generators. So basically what it does is he uses these huge machines that you can put anywhere, mm-hmm. right? And it condenses the moisture in the air mm-hmm. and creates water.
Okay.
So these machines can make 900 gallons of water a day.
And we don't have them everywhere? It's a concept or what?
No, it's not a concept. He supports the military. He was in Flint, Michigan when they had the water issue back a couple years ago. He also was creating gave 5,000 people water in Puerto Rico.
So he's like the Elon Musk of water.
Yeah, and so he's
Great.
like I found him on TikTok. He has a pretty nice following. Mm-hmm. I think Viola Davis just gave him a huge donation. Mm-hmm. He has his GoFundMe. I just thought it was so incredible. Mm-hmm. Like the reason why I think when you think about, there's a lot of bad things you can say about social media, and a lot of them are real, mm-hmm. right? But then there are moments where you say, wow, if it wasn't for social media, I would have never found this person. Yeah. And I don't know why, but this whole water thing has been on my mind because I've been reading several articles about like different lakes that we use for our water source, mm-hmm. Down like 40, 50% and just drying out like huge areas of water. And so now they're like in these negotiations of where they're going to get water from. And we're not necessarily getting a lot of rain. And so when people come up with these types of things, they're super important. And this is why when you are an older person, it's important to embrace the new, because within the new, there are going to be things that are important to you. And because maybe you're older, you have the financial backing to support something that can, secure the generations to follow. But, I thought it was really interesting. It's funny because when you watched one of his videos, did you know after about 7 days without water, you lose your mind?
Yeah. After about 2 hours, I'm going to lose my mind. As a matter of fact,
please get some water right now.
I need a drink.
But yeah, we can only survive a few days without water. Most of us can probably survive about 30 days without food. And so water is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like we got to figure out water. And as the earth heats up and our temperatures, mm-hmm. like this year is going to be a record heat across the nation. This idea of where we're gonna get our water is super important. So
it's not the nation though; it's the world. Like last year we went to Greece and there was record-breaking heat. Like they said it hadn't been that hot in Greece in 40 years. Right. Well, guess what? It's that hot again this year.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Italy in a couple of weeks, and they are saying right now there's record-breaking heat as well.
Yeah. And so I just thought,
if
you get a chance, maybe put it in the show notes. Check out this guy. It's Moses West. I think it's Moses West Foundation. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. I was just like, I got to mention it on the podcast because I was just like, this guy. He's probably in his 50s, black dude, mm-hmm. invented this technology.
That's really cool.
And necessarily didn't invent the technology, but invented machines. And the technology is there. We use it already in a lot of different cases, but
we need more.
We need more, right? And
so you know what it sounds like to me, though? It sounds like if he's taking all of the like humidity out of the air, it sounds like I'm going to be dry as shit. Like my skin's going to be super dry. So now instead of my skin being hydrated, now we got water to drink. Great. But I got to drink more water because there's less humidity in the atmosphere. So I feel dry just you talking about it.
Well, you know what's funny? As you look at the comments and mm-hmm. people are like, stay safe. Like, telling him to watch his back, make sure he's staying safe, that we have to protect him at all costs. Like the last time somebody came up with an invention like something like this, that they went missing. And I was like,
that's amazing.
I was like, what? Like, one, it was amazing that people were very supportive, but two, I was like, somebody's going to take this guy out because he's created something good. Is there something I'm missing in the world? And I don't know if it's those people who are like,
conspiracy.
They get down to conspiracy theory thing, but now it made me think like, okay, I gotta make sure this guy, keep tabs on him, make sure he's okay.
Oh my
Does
gosh.
he have a ring, that he can set up for everybody to watch and protect him?
You're ridiculous.
But it's just very interesting. But those are some of the benefits I think of staying abreast to what's new.
Yeah. One of the ones I laughed at most recently was the customer support TikTok guy. He's Palmer Trolls, which is great because he trolls the internet looking for like things to do. So this guy's super like dry eyes, watery eyes. Like he doesn't like change his demeanor at all.
No, at all.
So he'll find these customer complaints on these large corporations. Like I just saw one just now that was about the Starbucks employees trying to unionize, right? And so he'll go on these online forums or on Facebook or wherever, and he's finding these terrible reviews that people are writing. And he found one that someone said, how dare the Starbucks CEO try to, shut down this particular Starbucks because the employees were trying to organize to unionize, right? And so he poses as like the CEO, releases a statement and says, well, if they can't get on the right train, then fuck them. Like he says really crazy stuff that the CEOs are saying, like we're anti-union. And so, to hell with that store. It wasn't performing anyways. Like he's just so crazy, but he'll set up a profile and actually be like, who's the guy? Dick Schultz? That's a wrong name.
No, that's Best Buy.
I know.
No, you think about Howard Schultz. He's
Howard Schultz.
There's a different CEO.
The
now.
Starbucks guy?
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
So he'll literally create a profile picture, pretend that he's, replying on behalf, and then the comments go crazy. People are like, I can't believe that Starbucks would reply with a comment like this. And he's like, well, believe it, bitch. Like just things like that. It's just the funniest thing. So if you get a chance, go look at Palmer Trolls.
When I see it's interesting when I see it, it's super funny and it's extremely humorous. But it's so funny how we take so many things seriously.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that this individual can take that, like, people go crazy about things and they, and they want to leave messages and they go back and forth and all this kind of stuff. They write letters. And I'm just not that person. Like, if something's not working out for me, I'm just going to go somewhere else. But people really get like, I can't believe you. We're never shopping there again, and all this stuff. And he's just like playing with people's emotions. So it's super bad.
Yeah. So anyways, we want to know who your favorite TikTokers are. If you are not on TikTok, if you haven't been on, like I totally get it. It's another social media platform to have to download, to have to learn. The thing about TikTok though, it's not really about the followers. It's about, you can just be on as a watcher. And I think what sets it apart from other social media platforms is that the longer you watch a video, then TikTok says that that's more stuff that we should be showing you.
Right.
So people actually love the fact that like the TikTok algorithm's really smart. Whereas on other platforms, people are like, is Instagram spying on me? Why am I seeing an ad by this? Right. People actually are like, thank you, TikTok, for showing me more of this. So an example would be Eddie the other day says, how did I wind up on bear TikTok? Like I'm seeing nothing but bears in my TikTok feed. I go, well, dummy, you got to stop watching the bear videos. Well, he goes, I can't. They're just so good. Well, TikTok knows you better actually than yourself then, because if you love them and they're so good, then it knows that you want to see more of that.
Yeah. And I'm reluctant to like things that are different than what I normally probably want to see, because I know I'm going to see more of them.
Yeah.
So I've never liked any of the bear. And what this is basically people are going on hikes and there's a bear that, stumbles across their trail and starts to follow them. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I know they survived because the video is there, but I'm always like, did they really survive?
Right.
Did the bear get the kid? right? And
you
so
always want to know
it's
what
always a
happens
family,
after.
and like the mom is super calm.
Yeah.
She's like, don't worry, just keep walking. Don't worry, just keep walking. And they're like, hey bear, hey, you know, because you're supposed to yell, hey bear. And so now I have all the tactics. If we ever go on camping, which I don't know if we ever will do, like crazy
You're not
camping.
a camper.
But if we did, I know what to do because of TikTok, right? And so I find myself on bear TikTok quite often.
Well, I find that the kids have learned a lot on TikTok. Like, I think Jasmine's TikTok is like all fitness stuff. So like, you know, and I will say that's a little triggering. When Jordan and I go to the gym, people are setting up tripods and stuff. And I'm like, half of me is like, you know what? Do you, boo? I love that you're able to do that confidently.
But do it quickly.
Also, you're probably getting paid for that. And I respect that.
Yeah.
Also, do that shit quickly because I'm waiting on that machine and it's annoying, right? So I have this balance of like, I understand, but move it along quicker. Other people are waiting. So yeah. But I think that our kids have learned a lot of stuff, whether it's cooking, you know, they follow some people that go on these like organic farmers market trips every Sunday and they do just like a haul reveal. And I'm like, well, you bitches don't want to go to a freaking farmer's market with me. We could be doing a haul too. But they find some things interesting that I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, that is super crazy.
So yeah, I think this episode was about like embracing the new, regardless of what age you are, understanding that every generation has beef with another generation. You think that your generation was better and it knows everything, and it doesn't.
Right.
So staying kind of open. The cultures are shifting. You know, even for our two girls, Kayla and Jordan. I came home and I was like, you guys need to get on TikTok and create. You want to be actresses. You're going to school for acting. Freaking these like, you know, large film production companies are looking for actors who are already putting stuff out without representation.
Yeah, and that's so
that
huge
was the coolest thing to me.
Think about the fact that just 30 years ago, right? If you lived in a small town in Minnesota and you had a passion for acting,
got to move to LA.
You got to move to LA. Now you can say, I'm going to put these skits on. I'm going to create a following. I'm going to let my talent. And obviously you got to get formal training and there's other things you need to do. Still got to get an agent and all that stuff. But you don't actually have to move.
No.
Right? Like you can actually create your own thing and then it go crazy. Like the guy that created the dramatized version of the Fresh Prince, right? He did a serious version of the Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is really good. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
yeah. And basically he just took his cinematic training and created this whole like, you know, small short film that
storytelling
his perspective, it dramatized it, made it serious, took the comedy out, right? And then put it on YouTube, and all of a sudden Will Smith and his production company catches it. They find it, they go into production, and they create a whole show based on that. Like that's the power of this thing. And so for those who are listening that have a gift, that have some type of skill that you can share with the world, lean into these things. I mean, the best thing for you to do is just figure it out, put things out. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll get better and better.
Absolutely. I follow a woman right now because we're going to Italy, and she says, 5 things we would never wear in Italy. Tell me more, right? She's like, we don't walk around in sports bras and spandex. Like that's what you wear when you go to the gym. We don't walk around the streets like that. I was like,
how old is this person?
Good to know. She's like 50 maybe.
Oh.
She's like, we care a little bit more about fashion, like, so she's showing like younger outfits. Like this is what you should be wearing. Like, and she's like, it's hot. Wear linen, like linen, you can dress up. Like she's not old, like telling you what to look like. But so that's interesting. But like my stepmom, Robin, she's been in human resources for 25, 30 years. I go, you could literally start a TikTok, mom, at your age with your experience and say 5 things you need to know on how to do a job interview. Yeah. Here are 3 things that you need to know on how to sell yourself. 3 things that you need to know that are illegal in the workplace. Like people would totally tune into that stuff because the laws are forever changing. I said, all the stuff you complain about that you don't like about your job, that is great TikTok content. Like, because people want to learn what are some problems in the workplace right now. And so I kind of showed her a couple of accounts that I follow and like people that are even her age. And she's like, what? this lady has 3 million followers, and like got all excited about him. Like, it could be you too.
Yeah.
You just got to put the stuff out there. So
yeah, and you have a friend as an attorney that was posting during 2020 a lot about some of the laws and things that were coming up.
Yep.
Goalie, yeah.
Yeah, so Goalie was posting about like the social injustice and things like that. She used to be a
prosecutor.
No, she was a public defender.
There you go.
And so she was an attorney, retired from that, didn't like it. And so she starts just voicing her opinion on TikTok. Lizzo freaking retweeted a bunch of her stuff when she was spitting out facts about like, you know, people of color being locked up, not having the right representation. And yeah, Lizzo like put her on the map.
Yeah,
so it can happen. I don't think you should put stuff out with intention that it's going to blow up. But if you're consistent, like TikTok will find your tribe.
Yep.
And I think you could have a lot of fun on it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, so this whole episode is not just about TikTok though.
No, it's about not.
Embracing new cultures, embracing new things, new times, being open to other generations, knowing the world's not going to be ruined by the next generation because you didn't ruin it. So why would they?
Right. And so before we get off, I want to do a quick what in the world and see what you think.
Quickly.
You ready?
Okay.
So gold medal winner, Simone Biles.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She gets on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets her seat, and the flight attendant gives her a coloring book and says, did you want a coloring book?
Because she's little?
Because she's 4'8", right? And so it went viral that because she posted about it and said, I can't believe this flight attendant just offered me a coloring book. And so my thought process is,
that's so sweet.
Is there anything wrong with that? Like,
I think it's so sweet. I was like, that's so sweet. I've never seen a flight attendant be nice to kids. So I thought it was sweet, but is she upset?
She's 25 years old. So she's like, I don't want a coloring book.
Right. But the flight attendant doesn't know that,
the flight
obviously.
attendant does not know that.
She probably had a mask on, maybe no makeup.
Well, the picture that she posted, she didn't have a mask on.
Well, so is she mad?
I think she was just like salty about it. Like, no, I'm good. I'm 25 years old. I don't need a coloring book.
Yeah, but say that. Oh God, thank you so much. I'm 25. I mean, as a woman, I feel like we don't want to age. So if you're 25 and someone thought you were 8,
that's what I thought. I thought it was like flattering, but I think when you're 4'8", you're probably like, I'm not flattered. I'm like,
you're already hyper conscious of or hypersensitive of the fact that you're shorter. People think you're a kid.
Not to
Maybe
mention
they dismiss you.
Buff as hell, so it's not like she's like a small person.
Well, I mean, those gymnasts are pretty small and buff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, maybe she does gymnastics with my daughter. Oh, look at you. You're so cute. Do you want a coloring book? Do you go to my daughter's gymnastics?
But do you think that's a wild assumption to think that she's a young child?
No, I think if she offered her a coloring book, again, I've never seen a flight attendant be nice to a child and offer a coloring book. I was like, wow, what airline is that? That's a great feature.
I don't think any of our kids have been offered a
ever, not
book.
Once, but our kids were bigger.
I was showing Jordan that story. She says, oh my God, I'm a foot taller than her. I go, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But she is a gold medal winner.
Right.
She's, serious.
So she didn't, this flight attendant happened to not watch, the Olympics.
Right.
Not everybody's going to know you.
That's true.
So I don't know. I'm not offended by it, but I'm also not her, so I can't tell her how to act.
I just thought it was interesting.
What did you think?
I just thought it was interesting because that's like you can go both ways. You can be flattered by her, or you could be insulted. Depends on how you see the world. How you want to see the world. Yeah, but I just thought your gold medal. It's like it's kind of like one of the biggest awards you could win in the world. Yeah. But
people are still not going to know who you are. Get over it. Don't take yourself so seriously.
I know, but I would probably recognize that. Oh, that person. I think I've seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, but you would. You like gymnastics or the Olympics or whatever. Like, I think it's very presumptuous to think everyone should know who you are because you're one of the greatest athletes in the world. Not everybody cares about like athletes.
That's true, but it's just interesting how you said that. You're one of the greatest athletes in the world. And no one knows you.
Yeah, but like still, like not every single person is going to recognize, your greatest athlete, superhero. Like especially if they're in another country or something.
You think she responded and said, I'm 25 years old and I'm a gold medal winner in the Olympics?
Bitch, no, I don't want your coloring book. That would say a lot about her if she did that. I don't think she did.
But that's pretty funny. So
I think I would, if it were me, I would laugh. Obviously, I've not spent my whole life being 4'8", being called short. Maybe, maybe it's a triggering thing for her. So she gets to choose however she wants to respond. But for me, I'm like, if I'm the flight attendant.
But enough for it to make the news. It's so interesting. Like, it was on the news. It was like, oh.
But it also went on TikTok, went viral. So the news has to report that stuff too. Yeah. See how it's all connected?
100%. 100%.
All right. I hope that this episode was informative for you. If so, please share it with someone. Maybe you want to share it with your younger kids. Maybe you want to share it with your older grandparents or something. But we would love it and appreciate it if you guys could share this episode of the Push Podcast. Let everybody know to listen, and let's be friends.
And we'll see you on TikTok. We are the Copelands. Right?
Yes, we are. We are the Copelands. Bye, guys.
Push through.